Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back
Tim
to
and Joe's Awesome Podcast.
Man, we worked so hard for that
It's been
name.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
We took a 2-week hiatus. First one we knew about, you were having a baby.
Yeah.
Second one's on me.
Yeah. You were out.
I was in.
You were in.
I got back the night before.
We should pop this open too.
I'll tell you what, yeah, you're right.
All right. Hey, cheers.
Right there, come on, to being back.
Oh man, to being back. So you got back.
New children in the world. And I'll talk about this briefly. Then I've got to ask about your new baby.
Oh man.
But we went to Portugal with the little one. So the three of us. We went to Portugal, we went to Spain and Morocco. Now we only knew we were going to Portugal for sure. So it was the most haphazard anybody has ever gone to Europe. I don't know if I would recommend it because I don't know if it could turn out as well as it is. I don't know if it could be replicated.
Man.
But just simply really having no itinerary, it's already so hard to travel.
Wait, so let's just start with the end first. It was awesome to not have a plan.
It was. It was really, really awesome. Because, Katie is 27 weeks pregnant now. I mean, she may not even supposed to be on a plane, right?
Wow.
Amelia is 4, and so sometimes it's hard, long plane rides, long car rides, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't want to have too many expectations, and so we knew that we were going to fly to Portugal.
So just for our viewers who don't know, you took your 27-week
That's right.
pregnant wife, your 4-year-old daughter, and went to Portugal with no plan.
No plan.
But lots of insurance.
I did, and no way. And I mean, again, we've had some trips that haven't panned out the last few times. We've ended up canceling, or something came up, and nobody's hurt, so it's fine. But we tried doing a trip this time last year. Every September we do one, and we were supposed to go to Morocco, and a lot of stuff happened. Natural disasters happened. A bunch of chaos broke out in the Middle East that Morocco somehow got involved in, and we weren't quite sure if we were going to be getting in the way or what the situation was, and empathizing with not knowing that there were casualties happening, and just like being respectful. That happened like the day before we were supposed to leave, and so we ended up in Puerto Rico. This happened the last few trips for some reason, and so. Even like a few days before, in my mind, I wasn't really going to Portugal. I wasn't really going on a trip. I never really clicked until I'm sitting at the airport and I was thinking for a second, I don't think they speak Spanish in Portugal. I mean, my Spanish isn't great, but it's tolerable. So I'm like, oh, wait. And what's their currency? Oh, okay, good. It's the euro. Okay, so they speak Portuguese. Okay, let me Google some phrases.
Some Portuguesa.
Boy, I tell you. I mean, that was better than anything I spewed out. It's not Spanish. God. Speaking Spanish, Portuguese, and we ended up in Morocco, so Arabic. I don't know what was the least tolerable, but I'll tell you, whenever I can, I'm going to try to speak the language until they cannot take it anymore. And then I'll let them cut me off. And that happened quite a few times. But, we had a blast. It was traveling with a child. In our state, anytime you leave the country, there's just this air of like uncertainty and like, you just want to survive in a way that it's almost hard to enjoy the traveling in the moment. Yeah. And I say that was not necessarily the case this time because it was a little bit more laid back for us, but still, all the language barriers, the missing home, the unfamiliar with everything, it still kind of brews itself in this nice little... culmination of like inspiration. You do feel like on, and it doesn't necessarily hit you right away, but like on the plane ride home, Katie's asleep, Amelia's asleep, and I felt grateful. It was just like, and so it was just one of those. I felt that before. Bro. I felt it last week. It was just a great trip. But again, that is not to overshadow with one of the highlights of my trip is a 7-hour time difference. I got a text at a very reasonable amount of time of a picture of your new baby. Oh. So, I'm wondering, were you up in the middle of the night? Look at me the dirty details. Yeah. How did all this come to happen?
Well, speaking of the baby, first, my fear going on a trip without any plans is the old Mary and Joseph, baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, there's no room in the inn. So how did you avoid that? Or was this? Or is that for something that a guy like me doesn't even need to worry about? Like, there was always room. There's always somebody who speaks English.
You know, if you don't mind getting paying more, like we just accepted, like, we're gonna pay more for a room.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have the room that's near, like, the thing to do in the city, because I don't know what the thing to do is, because I didn't look it up. You know. Again,
say habla español, and they're like.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't have anyway.
Is it more expensive for Spanish speakers?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, by the time I got done asking them for a room, my price was marked up more than they sold it to anybody else.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, like, I'll tell you an example. Like, you know, we had some good stays. We had some bad places where we stayed. But, you know, one place we really enjoyed, you know, we were not sure what we were going to do each day, but we walked along, ended up just being along the coast. Portugal has these beautiful coastlines that are just unbelievable. They're all 100 feet in the air, and the waves are knocking against the cliffs. And, you know, we ended up finding a place. Well, the whole coastline's like that, so it wasn't hard to find one. We stayed there. And we go out to the cliff, and our first time to really see the ocean, and we look down, and there's just this beautiful beach that looks unbelievable. It's just kind of in this nook that's just tucked away from everything else. And, you know, we weren't planning on doing any hiking because, you know, Kitty's 27 weeks pregnant, but this looked irresistible. And so, hey, we went back to the hotel. We got all our snacks, our water. We got ourselves pumped up. This trail's a little bit longer than we anticipate. It's a little bit tougher. And I'm getting down towards the very end, and I'm holding Amelia at this point. My goodness, I don't have a backpack or anything. She's getting big. I'm beat. And I'm looking down, and, you know, I see a girl. She's topless. You know, she's walking around. I'm like, okay. You know, I hear they keep it a little loose in Europe.
Sure.
So, like, nothing to really point out or anything. Just I see a few. We get down there, and it becomes apparent as soon as our feet hit the sand.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's no going back up this cliff. Yeah. I mean, it would have, like...
Y'all brought snacks.
We brought snacks.
Sharks in the water.
I couldn't have made it back up, let alone Katie. I mean, we're at a nude beach.
Oh, straight up nude.
Straight nude.
Not just like topless.
Not just topless, straight nude. You're standing out if you're wearing clothes. God knows you're standing out if you've brought a child to this. And so, again, this is the nature of not Googling things.
Yeah.
Right?
Life without Google.
Yeah. So I'm looking down, and I'm like, okay, where's the safe spot?
Yeah.
Like, where
maybe they have like a smoking section, non-smoking section, like nude section, non-nude section.
Yeah. Right. Well, and it turns out there's a few people who are wearing clothes, but they're like, I'm seeing them, like, I'm picturing them, like, they're kind of towards the back. I see a few.
And they're like older, wrinkly elephant man. They're like, this is where people were like, please, you wear clothes.
Yeah. No, those people didn't get that memo. Like,
okay.
These people may have,
those were the first to cast it aside.
I think so. So I'm looking in the very back.
All right.
And I'm like, okay, I see a few people with clothes. Let's head to the back. That's what people with clothes are. They're hiding away. They're ashamed.
Yeah.
Let's all just live in that shame, and we'll just have a little shame community.
You got snacks for shame.
There's no shame on this beach.
Yeah.
I'm walking back towards them, and my God, it's getting just nastier and dirtier. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with being totally nude. I love it. It's liberating.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a guy who's like just kind of lathering up down there, first take, no problem. That's fine.
Okay.
You come back 30 minutes later and he's still lathering.
Oh gosh.
You start to wonder.
Oh gosh.
What's really going on back here in the
water. He wasn't there for the water.
I made it halfway.
Maybe he was there for the sand.
Halfway to the shaded area. Halfway to where the sun don't shine.
He needed one of those. Shaft wipes.
I did. He needed a shaft wipe. My goodness, we need to follow up. We're going to get our first sponsor on shaft wipe.
You know, it's not America that needs them. It is Portugal.
It's Portugal who needs the shaft wipes. God, we made it back to the shadows. I took one look around. I got my daughter out of there. I hightailed it out of there.
Oh, so you went back up?
I went back up. My goal was to go towards the very front.
Yeah.
And just to let everybody know, hey, I'm here. I brought a child. All right. There's a language barrier. God knows there's a language barrier. You tried talking to me.
Oh my god.
And we're just going to be so far in the ocean that Amelia. And we had a conversation with her. She's like, hey, some people don't wear clothes, you know.
Yeah,
it's
some
nice
people
like that.
lather.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like this is, it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to keep your clothes on.
I'm naked all the time. Probably if she's anything like my kids.
Yeah.
It's hard to just get a stitch of clothes on.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy. Oh yeah, true. I've been at your house. You know, you walk in at the wrong time. Yeah. There's
Poor Amazon delivery guy, man. He got an eye full of Jasper.
Woo!
It was daddy daycare, trying to get everybody situated. It was shower time. Somebody knocks at the door, and before I realized, Jasper's just thrown it open.
Yeah.
And that Amazon guy's like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to see a little baby dingling. I'm like, sir, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You did.
Well,
that's
you
not
worry
in the
about how
job
they
description.
feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just want you to know, like, I don't think you're a pervert.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for me to bring my 4-year-old down
Can you imagine any job that on the job description is like, and you may see 3-year-old baby penises?
You'd run from that.
You'd be like, I don't think this is the job for me.
It's not.
I think
It's not.
should go back to college.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on his job description that
they wish they had a hot tub time machine. We'll get to that. They wish they could make a few decisions over. But that was one where it's just like, yep, here we are, and we're
so
just
you
going to
went back up, though? You didn't stick around? Or how long did you stay on the beach?
Well, we made an afternoon out of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we made an afternoon out of it. Yeah,
man.
we stayed down there. I read a book. I mean, once we got past the point, and again, we went to the very front, where everybody was behind us.
I got you.
And they could make the decision on whether or not they wanted to stay near us. And most people decided they wanted to leave, and they wanted to not feel weird about being naked, and we didn't want them to feel weird about being naked. So yeah, you know, and Amelia was almost none the wiser. She just had a great time finding seashells.
I'm sure she's just like, finally, grown-ups, they get it.
They get it.
You know?
That's right. That's how it should be.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Man, I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
So
that's crazy.
Speaking of little ones.
We got a little teddy bear, Theodore. I'm calling him Teddy.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's cute, teddy bear.
It is cute. I love that.
Mom's fine, baby's fine. Trying to think if there's anything funny or fun. Mostly we're just straight up zombies.
Sure.
Straight up zombies.
You look dynamite, and I don't know if listeners at home, they may not know this, or those tuning in on YouTube. We don't have a makeup artist. We do not. But when we come on,
that's true. There's nobody behind these books.
There's nobody in the green room back there. There's
nobody behind that camera.
And Tim, you're looking sharp.
Well, thank you so much. You know, I do try and take care of myself. No, I think the real cool thing was that I get I get 4 weeks off of work. Love that.
Okay.
Work for a great company.
Yeah.
And they give me 4 weeks off. It was so that I could bond with the baby. Cool. It's more so that mom can heal up and bond with the baby, and I get to do the things that she does. People have asked in the past, they've been like, oh, well, what does your wife do? And I say, oh my gosh, well, she's an event planner. They're like, that's the coolest thing ever. I'm like, yeah, and she's a personal chef too. They're like, how does she find time for it all? I'm like, and she's a psychoanalyst therapist. What? And then I'm like, yeah, and then she's a maid sometimes. She's a house cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, what?
A dancer.
A dancer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, you know, she's a stay-at-home mom. Don't tell her that people actually get paid to do these things, because I make her do them for free.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get the word out. Let's make sure we'll edit this part out.
What's that?
We'll have to edit this part out.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, she knows now. She actually listened to a cool podcast that was like, the woman kept a chart in her phone for a year. Yeah. And she said, oh, well, you know, for 30 minutes, I was helping a kid process emotions. I was a therapist for 30 minutes. Yeah. I was cooking for 3 hours today. I was a personal chef for 3 hours. And she would, quote unquote, bill herself. Like, if I had hired a personal chef, this is what it would cost. If I had taken my kid to a therapist for 30 minutes, this is the going rate for that.
Wow, okay.
She's a house cleaner. So, all right, I cleaned the house for 2 hours on Saturday. This is the going rate for that, right? And at the end of the year, what do you think was the grand total of what she would have been making?
Wow. 6 figures, no question.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say you've set me up a little bit, so I'm going to say $250,000.
Yeah, it was about $200,000.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's the value.
Yeah.
And I feel it, man. For the last 3 weeks, I've been cooking, I've been cleaning, I've been, she can't do the stairs right now.
Oh, my God.
And she's got to heal up. She's, she did her job. She did the amazing, cool, life-giving thing, and I'm thrilled. But, I was telling her, a couple times I was telling her, like, look, I don't know how you do all the things you do. It's just like too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Well, way to go. Way to keep it together. Shout out to Stephanie for just doing it again. All the things that she does on a daily basis. Yep. Tim's keeping it together now, but off camera, I think he was on the verge of a serious breakdown. So, and shout out to your job for giving you 4 weeks paternity leave. How important is that? That's awesome.
It's so important. It's funny. The other 3 kids didn't have that opportunity, and I didn't realize how important that is. But it's been a game changer. Mm-hmm. And I think the cool thing also is talking about productivity. Sidebar. I mean, somebody who gets time to come off work and do something, be part of a family, inspirational, and then go back to work, can't help but honestly be more productive and more inspired on the daily.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are moving towards paternity leave, paid paternity leave, and it gets a lot of pushback. It's kind of, I don't know if it's part of some sort of culture war or anything, but I hear things, right? And I know a lot of people say, hey, they're just spending time looking for a new job, or they're gonna quit as soon as they get back. It's like, I know you had some moments, and you love your job, but I know you've had some moments where, boy, I don't love it here. This is really hard, but I've got a baby on the way, and I need that 4 weeks, right? Or exactly, you come back even more productive, and I think those are the kind of benefits that hopefully people consider when they're like, wow, do I want to be a person-centered workforce? It probably pays dividends.
Well, the send-off I got, I felt like I was going on vacation.
Yeah.
Not a second of this has felt like vacation.
Sure.
It has been wonderful, but it's been more work than I ever do at work.
Yeah.
If I wanted to look for another job, this wouldn't be the time to do it.
Yeah.
I can't even remember when to have a Zoom phone call.
Yeah, right.
And the other thing is that I think that if you had 2 jobs, one was a higher paycheck, but you didn't like the people you worked with.
Sure.
And it was a company that treated you a bit like a tool. But they're willing to pay you, I don't know what your number is, they're willing to pay you 25% more.
Yeah.
Right? And you got another job who will pay you 25% less, but they'll take care of you as a human being. You like the people you work with. You feel supported. I would go for this one every day of the week. Yeah. I was actually talking to our friend Jake, who works at another company, and he was saying very similarly. He was like, there are opportunities for me to go make more working with people that I don't think I'd enjoy.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a real staying power to taking care of the people that work with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Whatever. Yeah. But baby's doing great. Now,
Baby Teddy.
Segue to hot tub time machine. As you know, I sent you a prompt. First, we'll start with let's start with the time machine part. Okay, we'll get to the hot tub afterwards.
Not the whole thing's a time machine.
Well, so there's the hit, the runaway hit of 2008, 2010.
Okay.
Hot Tub Time Machine was a runaway comedy hit.
I don't think I've had the pleasure, but it feels like it's all in the title. I think I can get there.
That was the win. That was the win. I can imagine them pitching it like, all right, here's the title, and then the pitch was over.
Yeah, that was it.
Love it.
I'm in.
Absolutely love it. I'm in 100%. So, well, let's start with hot tub. All right, so hot tub time machine.
Okay.
Hot tub. All right, so let's say that you could sit in a hot tub.
Okay.
All right, bubbles burbling up. Maybe you got a drink in your hand. Maybe you got a little
little umbrella.
You got a little spark in your hand. You got something happening. Whatever you want.
Okay. All right, sure.
And you get 3 people from history to marinate in this hot tub with you.
Really?
And of course, y'all might talk. You might not. You might just vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's not like dinner. That's the old question of like, oh, if you could have dinner with, and I love that question. 3 historical figures who would, like, dinner's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, Winston Churchill just in a Speedo.
Let your hair down, yeah.
You know, drinking his martini. That's a different vibe than having dinner with Sir Winston Churchill.
Well, yeah,
You know,
it would be
so-
Sir in that scenario. Mm-hmm.
In a hot tub, who would you invite from all of history?
Wow.
3 people to marinate with.
They should be. This was not part of the prompt you sent me. Let me just put that out there right
marinate.
now.
That's the thing. Who are you going to
All
marinate
right.
with?
Well, you said Sir, so I'm gonna go with where my mind went with. Well, he's alive. Is that a problem?
It's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
anybody.
We'll go with Sir Elton John.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, I just think
Yes.
that's just gonna really get the atmosphere right.
Yes.
All right, let's
Yeah,
start.
All right.
Let's start with just a really strong.
What's your favorite Elton John song?
I mean, I'll go with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road,
Yeah.
Tiny Dancer. I mean,
Yeah.
Rock. I mean, the hits.
All
I
the
mean,
hits. I love it.
I'm going all hits.
I hope
on
he
that one.
finds our podcast and he invites you to have some time in a hot tub with him.
Yeah, I'll go with anything on the Lion King soundtrack, and he can just marinate us in the background.
I love it.
On that.
I love it. All right, so Elton John.
Okay, so all right, let's do.
We got 2 more.
Let's do Elton John.
It's a small,
is going to
it's a
be
small hot tub.
Okay,
4
sure.
people
All
only,
right, so
you know?
that's just going to be like that's just my party guy.
Yeah.
That's just going to be a good time.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick somebody from ancient history.
Yeah.
The thing about picking somebody from ancient history is I think I'll be the hot topic conversation at that, right? I mean, they're going to be like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How is this being plumbed?
Yeah.
This hot tub.
Yeah.
Explain what,
Yeah, depending on how far back.
and I may have a hard time explaining that. You know, like, don't ask
Yeah.
me how Wi-Fi works, my goodness. So do I
Yeah.
even want to go that route?
Good question, man.
All right, let's do...
For somebody who doesn't plan a trip to Europe, you're sure planning a lot.
All right.
It's hot tub.
There is I also love the average Joe who just sees life in a real more whimsical way.
Average
Who's the modern
Joe.
day Willy Wonka, right?
Yeah.
A guy that comes to my mind is William. I think his last name is Cimello. He's a New York bus driver,
Ooh, okay.
and in the
He's still
70s,
alive?
I think so.
Okay.
In the
Man,
70s,
all right.
he did his route every day, the same way.
Yeah.
For a decade.
Wow.
And he did that same route. And he
Yeah.
came out of his bus station and he turned left every single day.
Yeah.
And he picked up New Yorkers and he got them to doing
Yeah.
whatever they're doing. And he did the
Yeah.
same thing every day. But
Come
one
on.
day,
Uh-huh.
he turned right. And he took that bus and he stole it.
He stole the
and
bus?
he went on a cross-country trip to Florida. And he got down there to the coast and he
kidding.
basked in the ocean. And he walked to the police station and he turned himself in.
Where did he park this bus?
He was a folk hero to the people
Wow.
of New York.
Yeah.
I mean, he was acquitted because he was so
No kidding.
beloved.
Wow.
I'd love to hear from him.
Man, let's get
He's
him in
a
the
real
tub.
Bob Goff kind
Get him in the
guy. I bet.
tub,
Let's
you
get
know
him in
what
that
I'm
tub.
saying?
All right, so I've got Elton
Get him
John.
in the tub.
I've got William C. Mello.
Man, that's a party.
I've learned nothing about life here, but I'm having a good time. I'm not
You're
learning
brewing.
ancient secrets here.
Man, you're the stew you're marinating right now.
Yeah. And you know what? I also love a good story, and my childhood wants to say Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville, but I'll take it back even further, at least somebody who's further from my generation, maybe something I could learn something from. I'm not going ancient Romans here. I'm not going to learn anything academic here,
You
but
can't even speak their language, bro.
God knows I can't. Right. That's
Ancient
true.
Latin is a dead
Well,
language.
I think I could get by.
Sure. Se habla.
Again, I think after speaking
Latin-
Portuguese,
yeah, I
Spanish,
know.
and Arabic
Bro,
last
yeah.
week, I
Because
think
you were great at
I'm
all
really-
those 3.
I think
You were really
trust
good
me.
at them.
Yeah, again, we won't get into it. It's not about me. I'm not going to speak Arabic today, but I'll go with.
Marhaban. Or what is the hello?
Yeah, see, I
know.
don't think that's right because I don't recognize that.
Oh. Marhaban. I don't know. I tried to learn Arabic at one point, but
Yeah, sorry. I
make it
think
very
you're just not really.
didn't get
you're
it.
missing something.
yeah, maybe the language. I'm
That's what
missing
it
the
is.
language. So, yeah, go ahead.
Evil Knievel.
Bro,
I'll go
the
Evil
original,
Knievel.
the OG.
I'll go the OG. Yeah. So again, have I picked somebody who could biblical, who could share?
Oh, I didn't even think
They-
biblical.
no, I haven't gone that. I haven't gone
Man.
Einstein. I haven't
Yeah.
gone Da Vinci. I haven't. You
Right.
know, I think I've probably not taken this in the right direction. But that is my genuine 3 off the top of my head that I can come up with right now.
We got
and I know I would have one hell of a night.
Elton John. What was the bus driver's name? Cedillo.
William.
William.
Let's just go with Will or Bill.
Will?
Yeah.
Will? And then the third guy?
Will, the bus driver,
was
Evel Knievel.
Evel Knievel.
All right, let's hear your 3 because this is
man.
This is harder than I imagined.
Yeah, it is harder. Because I came up with the quote-unquote question, and I'm having a little trouble. Let's marinate. Let's do some marinating.
Okay. Here you go.
I think I'm a bit of a nerd, but I think Johann Sebastian Bach.
Oh,
all right.
Is it also known as Bach?
Mr. Bach.
Okay, good. I'm used to I'm a big fan.
Well, he wasn't big Mr. Bach.
Is he Four Seasons or not Four Seasons?
No, that was
that's
Vivaldi. Yeah. But the well-tempered clavier. All right.
Okay.
So in a time of absolutes, Johann Sebastian Bach, who was just a music fiend, just loved it, and he's basically created the rules that we all live by or break when writing music.
Oh yeah,
Western
cool.
music.
Okay.
The well-tempered clavier was he found that if you found the perfect absolute pitches, right, on a clavier / piano, it didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Because it was in a time of absolute truths, right? So there was like, we have to have these absolute phonetics or phonics, absolutes, right?
Okay.
And to tune your clavier, I'm guessing that was a piano kind of a thing. It was bad. So he pioneered relative phonics.
Yeah.
So you start with a true A 440, which means nothing, but it means something. And then you draw your line from that A. So it's no longer the perfect D, the perfect E sharp.
Okay.
It is all relative. And to prove his point, because people are like, oh, how dare you, sir, in this relativist society, you lie, sir. Yeah. He wrote a whole book of beautiful clavier music called The Well-Tempered Clavier just to prove his point. Like, no,
really,
there is nothing you can't play.
He was literally beating to his own drum.
He's beating to his own, drum.
That sounds like,
so I love that. Also, he was bent on music, and I don't know. I think he'd just be a really cool dude. Yeah. I'd love to pick his brain a little bit. Another guy,
so number 1 was not Bach.
Number 1 is Bach.
It is Bach.
Yeah, Mr. Johann.
Okay, of course.
Mr. Johann, JS.
Hey, what?
Mr. JS Bach. And I think he had like 8, 10, 12. He had a lot of kids.
All right, spin-off podcast. Tim explains music to Joe like he's a 5-year-old. Let's do that. That'll be the spin-off. All right, number 2.
Okay, number 2 has got to be.
Got to be.
Keanu Reeves, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
good. I'm glad you're doing.
He's a dude. He's like
the
dude. You know, like the man of the people.
Oh, do you want to have your shirt off next to that guy? You know.
I'll be a wallflower.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Keanu can be there. Love his films. Love his vibe. Love his person. You know, love that. You know, I wish I had like a crazy wackadoo answer.
These are good.
Yeah,
this is a good time.
Yours
I wouldn't mind like if we could just let's just get these hot tubs together.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's get these hot tubs together.
Yeah, let's just move this party over into just a larger hot tub.
Tubs together. The other guy. You know, I think the Queen of Sheba, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like a little cutie Queen of Sheba.
What did she do?
Well, she was supposed to be like the most powerful queen of like Ethiopia.
Language barrier again. Bro. But I'll tell you, If I'm around.
If I can bring her back from the dead to hang out in the hot tub, I'm not worried about the magic of translation. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah, we'll get our point across.
But I think she's just a very powerful queen. I want to know, she's supposed to be the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah.
She went to Solomon, I guess. Legend has it, for wisdom. Why not? Queen of Sheba. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. I think that's a good group. That's a good group. You get her and Keanu Reeves together, though. Woo!
That'd be something.
That would be something.
It'd be something.
It's a good thing you're just going to be a wallflower. Front row seat, baby.
I feel like you're beaching Portugal, bro. It'd be just like you're beaching Portugal.
Oh, my gosh.
Just make sure me and Johan were there in the front. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, hey.
Johan,
Easy on the lathering over there,
it's
Johan.
Just you and me, Johan. Don't mind them. Yeah. Which, funny thing.
All right.
Strange fact. Do you know? So Johann Sebastian Bach was in the 1600s.
You know I know so much about him.
Do you know how he died?
I want to say, if I've heard one thing about it, is that recently they've been able to test some hairs from Bach. Is this true?
Maybe. I don't know. What were they testing for?
I think trying to figure out how he died.
So, well, that might have been...
Was it Vivaldi? Was it another one of these? Was it Elton John? I get all these piano players mixed up.
It was Mozart.
All right. We know
Johann Sebastian Bach died. He had... they didn't have electricity. He was so bent on music. He would spend all night writing music to candles, right?
Okay.
Just have the candles on, studying music, all that stuff. Anyways, and medicine wasn't great. He got cataracts, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Can't write music with the cataract. You can't see what you're doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you can play.
So he died from having cataract surgery.
Yeah?
And this is like before they even knew what germs was.
Is that even? Yeah. I didn't.
Like, can you say autoclave? Like, there was zero. Somebody was like, yo, Johan, I think I know the problem. Let's just skim a little bit off the eyeballs.
I'm worried there were ice picks involved in this surgery right
Might have
here.
been. I mean, this is when bloodletting was happening, and the dude must have been desperate because he was like, I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up, man. I'll just skim a little bit off the top. I don't even know that they had anesthetic. Anyways, he got an infection and he died from cataract surgery.
I got you. All right. Well, I don't think this is Mr. Hair Follicle guy. But you know, that's interesting to know. I'm glad.
Well, now for the time machine part. All right, let's say I got 2 tokens for you.
Okay. Tokens.
All right, so those tokens. 1 token will take you back.
Okay.
To an hour of your life that you just get to watch and observe and relive.
Oh, I'm not even in my body?
Well, you could, no, sorry, good point. So you'll be in your body.
Okay.
So you get to be there, but you get to have your consciousness as it is now.
Yeah.
So let's say that you wanted to go back for an hour to your 3-year-old birthday party. You would be there as your 3-year-old self.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But you would have...
Go to somewhere I have no memory of.
You would have, you would have the vibe of that.
Maybe I could observe one of my surgeries.
Well, you could do that too. But, so that's 1.
Okay.
The other token is you get to go back and actually talk to yourself and give a word of advice. And be like, hey, young Joe.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure. And I think I know exactly. If you don't say it, I'm going to bring it up.
Oh, no.
But I think I got a good one.
Do you really?
That'll break your heart for you. Breaks your heart. But you know what? It's because of this, we're here today. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and that's what makes this difficult.
Yeah.
I think anytime you ask, most people, barring a serious accident in their life, or in one of their loved ones, would be uncomfortable with changing anything. I think people are comfortable. They don't like the idea of something being different. So I think it's a hard exercise for that reason. I think most people, their gut reaction would be like, hey, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I've learned from my mistakes because of things that happen.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it makes this exercise, I fall in that camp, less because everything happens for a reason, but more because I just really value mistakes. You know?
Interesting. Yeah.
I think you're the same way. It's like, you failed a business is like, you didn't fail. Not at all, right?
That's a good point.
You're out $50,000 because you sunk it into this business. That's worth it. Like, you'll come to appreciate that. You moved into a smaller house, you're better for that. Like, all those things, like, they make you a better person, they make your next business better. Like,
I guess you.
I think you kind of, I've just based off things we've talked about, I'd say you've kind of fallen in that camp too. Is like, yeah, failure's a good thing, right?
All right, how about this then?
Okay.
Sounds like you don't like that question. I don't blame you.
No, it's just, that's what makes it hard.
Let's say that you went to the future.
Okay.
Now, it is not uncommon, as I think about my young self, and now my middle-aged self, and then my older self, to maybe forget the magic, or forget the hopes, or whatever. So if you could go 30 years into the, wait, you're what, 30s, 20s, 28?
Higher.
29?
You got it.
There it is. So let's give you 50 years.
Yeah.
All right. So you're jumping ahead 40, 50 years, 69 years old, right? Whew, 40 years.
Lord.
What would you say to yourself at 69? Like, hey, don't forget, we always wanted to go skydiving, you know? Like,
right.
Maybe that's a better exercise. And I love the vibe over here. I think that you're the exception. I mean, we all, I think, have some regrets. Sounds like you were like at peace with it. You're like, just like,
well,
namaste.
I'll tell you that hey, like I said,
and I love it.
It's great that I've never had something that couldn't be fixed.
Yeah.
But
well,
my goodness,
29,
let's just knock on some wood here.
There's a guy at work that's like 27.
Okay.
And he's all stressed out. He's like, oh my gosh, you know. And I was like, bro, you still have time to make 2 really serious mistakes.
Yeah.
For the right reasons.
Yeah.
You could sink a business.
Yeah.
And you could, gosh, you could even, whatever.
Yeah.
You got time for 2 more big mistakes before you can't make those big mistakes anymore.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
anyways,
funny.
go for it.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got my token. Now, why are there tokens in the hot tub? You put the token in the hot tub?
Well, it's kind of like, you got up, you dried off, and you were like, yo, Elton, I'm going to grab some drinks. I'll be right back. And then, whoa, there's a time machine in the middle of the...
Oh, I got you. Okay, the time machine's different than the hot tub. All right.
Yeah, you kind of left your friends behind.
I got you.
Keanu and the Queen of Sheba are like having a real good time.
I know.
Johan can't see to save his life. And I'm like, I'm going to find you some glasses. We're going to turn some lights on.
Yeah. We're going to
get you a drink.
$100 outpatient surgery to fix this.
Yeah, these days, not only are we going to get rid of the cataract, you won't need glasses. It'll be LASIK, cataract.
Yeah.
So you're,
All right.
Now you got 2 tokens.
Let me start with the low-hanging fruit for me, which is 1 hour I'd like to relive.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hours that are fun to relive. I don't think I've had a pivotal moment in my life that's like, I really need to go and like address this.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of moments that are just, fun, or what really happened there, or like, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
And so I think I've found, I'm telling you, driving over here even, I was thinking about different ones. But the one that comes to me the most was over the best summer of my life, which was when Katie and I did our road trip up to Alaska. And we did the most epic road trip we ever had. And we drove to Alaska, we drove down to Mexico. We worked on a reindeer ranch for 3 months.
Yeah.
If you asked me what's one summer you wanted to relive, it would be no question, it's this one. But on that summer and working on that reindeer ranch, one of my goals in Alaska was I wanted to see Mount Denali. I wanted to climb Mount Denali I still do. But that's something at least I had said, even when I was a kid, is I want to climb Mount Denali. And so I really wanted, of course, to visit Denali National Park. And the first thing we did whenever we left the reindeer ranch after 3 months is we went. We lived kind of on this little mountain as well when we lived there, and so I would jog up to the top of the mountain, and even though I was like 100 miles away, you can actually see Mount Denali. But people don't know it's really hard to see. So I could see the Alaska range, never saw, even after trying for months, never saw Mount Denali. And
so you could see it from that point, but because of like...
From that vantage point, it was possible to see on a clear, perfect day with perfect conditions.
But there's just not very many perfect days.
There aren't many perfect days, and even when it would just kind of, clouds would just hover around it.
I get you.
They just were attracted to it like magnets. And so we went to Denali National Park, which is huge. It's like I don't know. I don't want to sound stupid when we're on a podcast, but I'm going to say it's like 500,000 acres.
I cannot prove you wrong.
I don't think anybody can. So we're going to go with it. And the way it works when you're at Denali National Park is you just like, there's a tram, there's a single road in and there's a single road out. And you hop on the tram, and anytime you want, you just tell the bus driver, let me off here. And they'll let you off anywhere. And you can roam anywhere you want.
Wow.
And there's no boundaries because you can't, it's just so large that there's just, you can't go too far. The only rule is, of course, if you want to survive, make sure you're on the last tram that is going to come out of the park at dusk.
I got you.
So just make it back onto the tram. If you're on the road, there's only one road, you'll flag down the tram and we'll pick you up. So we go, miles in there, and you can only get 20 miles away from Denali. That's the closest that you can get to Mount Denali, unless you are climbing that thing. And so when you are standing at the base 20 miles away, you have a 30% chance to see Mount Denali.
Wow.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
So we don't waste our time with that because it's just so far into the park. We just pick what is the most beautiful vista, panoramic, caribou and reindeer running around. Let us off here. When we saw it, we just like, this is the one. Let us off. They let us off. Good luck. Be back by dusk.
Yeah.
And we start walking towards these mountains with a goal of just to kind of climb the spine of the mountain and go up as high as you can. And hopefully, when you're up as high as you can see and see over the mountain range, to see Mount Denali. And we spent, this was early afternoon, we might have spent 8 hours. And I'll tell you, that mountain looks like it's just towering over you. We started walking towards it. It might have been 5 miles just to get to the base of it.
Yeah.
And by the time that we're climbing up this thing...
You were climbing up Mount Denali?
We were climbing up a mountain in the Alaska range.
I got you. That you could
that we were hoping when we got to the top we'd be able to see it. And it's just going and going and going, and it stretches further than you can even imagine. Yeah. And you get to the top and you realize, oh my gosh, I can see it. And you get to the top, no, it's just another mountain. And you got to climb that, and you get to another one, and it's just another one. And we get to the point where we realize, what time is it? I don't think we're going to make it back.
Oh no, to the tram.
I just don't know how this happened to us, but we found ourselves realizing, I don't even think we can take another step before we need to start going back to the tram. Forget trying to get to this next viewpoint where maybe we'll see the mountain.
Yeah.
We have got to
Oh my gosh.
And
we're going to be spending the night.
This hour of our lives, I think, had everything wrapped up into what makes
this is the hour.
Us.
All right.
This is the hour. Because we're 5 minutes late and $1 short to everything. Because we were surrounded by the most beautiful scenery we ever had. So even your worst days weren't that bad, but there was a general fear of grizzly bears. And I'm telling you, when we took a shortcut to go through some brush to think we could make it back, it was so thick it was ripping our clothes off.
Wow.
We're coming back, by the time we stumble out of the brush, we are missing essential items of clothing. That now it's even more severe if we're stuck here tonight, that we will not survive.
No way. No
and we're
way.
screaming, "Hey bear!" But we're just running and screaming, "Hey bear!" We're running, "Hey bear!"
God.
Now we've come to a river. My God.
Yeah.
This thing doesn't even qualify as a river, really. It's a tributary, but it's going so fast and it's so cold.
Oh my gosh.
That we don't think we can pass it.
You didn't
But we don't have another option.
Oh my gosh.
And we are now pants off. The only article of clothing we've got left here, pants off, wading through this water, being basically swept away. But it never got so deep that we couldn't handle it. But we're just like, it's sweeping us downstream, but there's nothing, it's all open.
It's so like waist high?
Yeah, waist high. Maybe not even. I mean, thigh high maybe, but it's pounding.
Yeah.
And we get up to the other side, and the last thing is this ravine, and darkness is coming in, and you're in the summer. So you don't have true sunset, right? In Alaska, you've got 24 hours of daylight. So in my mind, I'm kind of wondering, like, the last train might have come an hour ago. I don't know when dusk is. Oh my
gosh. This sounds like a horror movie.
I pulled myself up to that ravine before Katie did. And I'm not kidding you, it was like a movie script. Headlights.
Oh, you saw them?
Headlights. We flagged
And you were still pantless?
Oh, no, pants are on. Pants are on.
You took them
Shoes are probably off, but I mean, we're like, we're back
snowy on the ground? Or
no, we're not in. Everything's snow capped around us, but we're good on that. And we get up to the top of this thing, we get to the road, we flag it down, and we hop on. He confirms to us, I am the last tram.
Oh my God.
I am the last tram. This was a savior.
Wow.
And I hop on this bus, and we sit down with such relief.
Yeah.
And we're on our way out, and we turn the corner on the way out, and the sun is setting right over Mount Denali, and I see it for the first time I've ever seen it in my entire life. And it was a moment I'll never forget. And I said, I told the bus driver, is that Mount Denali? And he said, no, you can't see it from here. And he looked over his shoulder, and he turns around, and he announces to the bus, everybody, that's Mount Denali.
Wow.
And so it was
Bro.
It was unbelievable. It had everything in it.
Man.
We were wholly unprepared for the elements in a way that we have in every single time we've gotten ourselves in that situation. Yeah. And I just can't imagine doing it with anybody else but Katie. It was something we'll never forget.
Wow.
So that's my moment, man. I would do it all over again. The panic, the fear, the terror, the hay bear, the vistas, the reindeer, the caribou. Everything was perfect.
Man, that's something, bro.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, what about, gosh, let's say you got a token you're going into the future, you're going to tell yourself, your future self, something that you hope you don't forget. And maybe your future self's like, man, Joe Jr., baby Joe, little baby Joe, I did that, don't even worry, or I totally remember, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a confirmation. Like,
yeah.
I've lived like that for 40 years.
Well, I would hope that if I'm visiting again, like if I'm going into the future, I'm hoping that I really would be able to share kind of what I already believe, which is like, just don't sweat it. Like, don't sweat that you tried to invest $5,000 in Bitcoin in 2012.
That was going to be it.
Don't sweat that was worth $10 million.
2012. Yeah.
At its peak, right? And that's a longer story, and there's a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda, and it's not even worth it because you know what? When that $5,000 turned to 10 or turned to 50 or whatever, I would have sold it so quick.
Man, it's true. Any of us would.
That $10 million, I never would have seen that.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things where it's just not worth it. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And honestly, if there's one regret from that, it's that I didn't get the opportunity to trust my instincts.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have trusted my instincts in that moment, gone against other advice, but at the same time...
Well, I'll pause there. Of course, we're talking about the moment that your dad, wonderful dude, was like, hey, Joe, you're what, 18?
Yeah, I'm 17.
17. And he's like, 17. Joe, I've got...
2012.
How much money?
So, and this is like, again, how do you complain? This is the most unbelievable opportunity that, what other kid gets this opportunity? My dad works really hard. He was successful in business, and he invested a lot, and he did safe bets, and it panned out well for him, right? And so he liked when people invested in things like, Apple and Starbucks and things like that. So when he gave a wonderful opportunity to learn about the stock market and to say, hey, I have $5,000 that I would like you to invest in. And I've set this aside. This is for you. I want you to hold on to it and learn about the stock market and watch it grow. And I don't want you to touch it.
Beautiful.
And he said, you can invest in whatever you want. And I come back maybe a week later and I just say, I've decided, I've looked into this. I want to invest in Bitcoin. And he'd never heard of it. He looks into it. Look, this is high risk, high reward. That is really not, that's a foolish investment.
Yeah, 2012, very full. Even
$13 a share.
$13
a share, Bitcoin. And, we've only talked about it a few times. It hurts him to talk about, I do think. But he did remind me, and he did let me know, one thing he told me, and he's absolutely right, is you would not have played the long game on that. Now, I did some safe bets, which panned out, and they grew, maybe 30, 40%, whatever. And I was able to use that to down payment on my first house. And that $5,000, maybe it was $9,000, right? But I got to buy a house because my dad let me. You know what I mean? And so, there's really no regrets on there. But if there was one opportunity that looking back, you realize, you had some good instincts, Maybe you were naive, and maybe that works in your favor.
Ooh.
You know?
When naivete works in your favor.
Yeah, because you're young, you get to be bold, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that boldness compounds on itself too.
Yeah.
And so, you know, maybe there's a little bit of regret about not being able to learn about that boldness early on.
Yeah.
Or beating myself up a few times, you know, over the years, seeing that missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But in the end, again, it's I really just can't even say it's a regret.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that you were going to know about that because the reason it came to my mind is because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I've talked about that with very many people. So it was one of the first things that popped in my head. It's like, this is Tim's prompt. I know Tim and I have had this discussion. So.
Well, because it fascinates me. It's so interesting as a dad.
Yeah.
You want to set your kids up. You know what I'm saying? And what amazing. Your dad is like, listen, Joe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're a high risk, adventuresome type now. I can only imagine what 17-year-old Joe was like.
Loose cannon.
Loose cannon.
Loose cannon, yeah.
Your dad's probably up at night. Your mom definitely up at night, just like worrying, right? And you're up to some, you know, some good-natured, ne'er-do-well kind of stuff.
Yeah, shenanigans.
And so, yeah, I can see how your dad would be like, oh, it backfired. My lesson was, let me teach you, young Joe, the value of playing the long game, playing it safe. Yep. And you're like, Dad, guess what? Like, I found the most high-risk, nebulous, like, who even knows what Bitcoin was?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you're
at the time when he looked it up, the first item came up is Kanye West will be the first celebrity on Bitcoin. So I think that was enough for him to be like, I think this is a scam.
But 2012 Kanye is very different than 2019. What was that?
It took a shift in
2019 Kanye, you know?
Yeah.
Which I met Kanye. I served him coffee out in L.A.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, this was before...
he wasn't in your hot tub.
He wasn't, man.
He didn't make the cuts?
Well, gosh, I should have put him in there. He was the nicest dude.
Yeah?
Nicest dude. Gave everybody working tickets to his show.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That was before his mental health episode. And I can only imagine he's still a very nice dude, but very nice dude.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's insane.
They're not all nice.
That has not come up.
I'll say they're not all nice.
They're not all
Kanye
nice.
was very
You have
nice.
met some incredible people. You do drop these in at the most unusual times. Now, some of them I haven't, I don't know them all. Because, you know, sometimes you talk about Bach and I don't really know what's going on.
But you know Kanye, right?
I know Kanye.
Easy.
Trust me, I know Kanye. Boy, big fan of his currency.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, let's set aside another spinoff or another episode. I've got to hear more stories about these because you drop these in at the most unbelievable times.
Yeah.
Your turn. All right, you're in the hot tub. You step out.
All right.
You have 2 tokens.
Boom, shakalaka. Oh,
Queen Sheba, Connor Reeves are. Well, you need to give them a moment.
What's that?
You had to get out of the hot tub. You had to, getting hot in there.
Yeah, Johan left a while ago. His little 1600s Puritan, he was like, man, I can't marinate in this full suit that I'm wearing, or whatever they wore in the 1600s.
There's your tokens.
So there I am, getting my tokens. Hopping in my time machine.
Yeah.
You know, and I think to go back, I'd love to be a kid again. You know what I'm saying? Probably be like my 10th birthday. So I was born on Christmas.
Oh, that's right.
And I have a twin brother. So what my mom and dad would do is have like a half birthday.
Okay.
So let's say I'm turning 10 and a half. All right.
Okay.
9 and a half, something like that, 5th grade. And it would be like a big pool party, right? So it's June 25th, not December 25th.
Yeah.
It would have the number 9 and a half on it, right?
I love it. That's such a great idea. You know, I may have a baby on Christmas, so I'm gonna file that one away.
Even if it's close.
Yeah, I'm filing that. That's done.
That's a hectic time of year to be sure. So I'd probably just go back and enjoy Michael Pena. I don't even know what that dude's doing anymore. You know, like, it's funny to me, oftentimes, a fun thing I do, because I'm a weirdo, is I go needle drop back in time and I take a look around, just in my mind.
Okay.
So like not in real life.
The follow-up questions are about to be.
I don't have a real-time machine.
Yeah.
But like imagine your 10th grade biology class and just take a moment and needle drop in time, or your high school biology class.
Don't make me go there.
Listen, do it for me. Close your eyes.
Oh boy.
All right, needle drop back to your biology class, okay?
Wow.
And you just stopped in there. All right, your teacher, what's her name? It doesn't matter. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up on it. All right.
Yeah, there's very few. It's weird the details that jump out to you.
Yeah. Well,
really
yeah.
strange.
So what are some of the details? Close your eyes again, though. But
okay, yeah.
What are some of the details?
Well, the lab tables. I probably haven't thought about these lab tables in forever.
Yeah.
But most of class was standing.
Okay.
All huddled around different lab tables.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what we did
What's
there.
the smell?
I can't tell you the smell.
Science is special because they got the formaldehyde smell.
You know, there's probably
chemical smells.
Yeah, that's true. You know, the few things that jump out to me is I can picture the lab tables. I can picture a memory of getting a hold of the teacher's test.
Okay.
The answer key. Passing that around.
Who did you pass it to first?
My boys.
Okay. Who was the boy? Who was the number one?
There's no telling. It was probably the more the merrier. I was trying to bring the whole system down. You know?
Yeah, I got you.
So everybody who wanted it got that answer key.
Yeah.
There may have been a few who were just like, no.
I got you.
I studied this.
Yeah.
I'm doing this the right way. But
now I see why your dad was so worried about you.
Why are you making me relive this? It is fun. It's fun, especially now.
Oh man, I love it. I like to go back. This is a weird exercise. Go back, and you got, of course, your boys. Maybe you got the girl or two girls you were really interested in.
Yeah.
Now think about like the people that you didn't even notice, but you noticed. You know?
Yeah. The people that come to mind.
And I think back on like, because gosh, when we're in high school, we're basically. We like to think we're so in control of what we see and do.
Yeah.
In reality, we don't have the experience to understand, to have the eyes. I didn't have the eyes anyways to see like, oh, that's April. Like, oh man, she'd be really fun. But like she wasn't cool or she wasn't hot or whatever, you know? Like,
sure.
Oh man. Or think about Mustafa. Man, Mustafa lent me his TI-85 calculator and Eugene stole it. And sweet Mustafa, man, had handwriting like a typewriter. But I never really hung out with Mustafa, you know what I'm saying? Like Mustafa was like, love it, nerdy, but he wasn't in the clique. And so what I do is I needle drop back in time and I try and take a look at each of the desks and look at those people or the lab tables and look at those people with my now Tim eyes that I didn't have when I was 16 years old or whatever,
That's
you know?
cool.
And it's wacky. Cool. It's really wacky. Anyways, sorry about that. So like even now, like I'm thinking about Michael Pena. I'm like, man, Michael, man. You know, to me, Michael was the class clown, goofy dude.
Okay.
Big glasses, freckles on his cheeks, you know.
What's he up to?
Man, I don't know.
Can we get him? Can we get him on here?
Man, I wish we could.
Guest.
We're not even friends on Facebook. Josh Sharp is another one.
Sure.
Looked him up on Facebook. Like, these people don't even exist on Facebook. Are they still alive?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if you're going to have much luck searching for Josh Sharp in Dallas, Texas.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had zero.
I was going to say, I mean, you got to go with a little more. Is there like a reunion page or something like that?
Possibly.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten on the reunion page. It looks like the same 20 people always talking or whatever. But
is it?
And I'm not against that.
Yeah,
you know,
Michael's on there making jokes. Surely. It's him.
He hasn't been on there.
Michael Pena.
But, you know, anyways, I would probably go back in time, not to do that exercise too deep, but I just go back in time, look at my friend Jacob. Jacob had a lazy eye. He was the old lazy eye kid. Just the heart of gold, nicest kid, Jacob. We'd have lunch together. And he'd just be like, wow, you know, like, I just don't know why everybody has a problem with our teacher. Like,
No. It's not bad enough that you got the lazy eye and that you have an appetite for learning. But you got to stand up for the teacher, Jacob. Jacob, you're never going to fit in.
Jacob was the nicest kid. Nicest kid. I hope he's okay.
Oh, my God.
Probably a meth dealer in Muskogee, Oklahoma.
I don't think
know.
this kid's a meth dealer.
No, Jacob's doing great. Jacob's doing great.
Oh, I'm rooting for Jacob, wherever you are. Write into us, Jacob, if you're hearing us.
Man, you know, in elementary school, you don't even know people's last names. Michael Pena, for whatever reason, I know his last name. But
yeah.
Anyways, that'd be fun. It'd be fun to go back and see the cake, blow out the candles. Of course, it was a dual birthday because I'm a twin, so there's 2 cakes. There's twice as many friends. The pool's going nuts. We'd always camp in the backyard. I got to stretch Armstrong that year, and he broke within an hour.
No,
they don't stretch.
Not stretchy?
They don't stretch forever. You stretch them and you stretch them. I mean, you're talking about 10-year-old boys that are like, let's see how far we can stretch him, and then the arm comes off. No regrets, though. He's made of like corn syrup. It was very unusual.
It's worth it sometimes.
So worth it. But yeah, so what a blast. My mom, my dad having a good time. I think my sister's older, so she's 4 years older. So I think she was probably hanging out with friends or something like that. But, you know, and then it gets dark and you turn the lights on in the pool. It's a whole new vibe. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? Whole new vibe. And it's summer. It's hot.
I can tell that you can pin drop well. I'm amazed at your memory.
Takes a little practice, but it's
just kind of all
really wacky.
Are coming back to you.
Or needle drop in and look at your teacher.
I actually...
Who probably wasn't much older than you in some instances.
Yeah?
You know?
I could probably only name... Mm-hmm. I've tried this before. I could probably only name 2 teachers in my entire life. And I'm dead serious. This I think is a big difference between us. I really can't...
What were you doing?
I'm amazed at your ability to recall...
What were you doing?
Drugs. I mean,
no,
I don't know if
like
that's
in 5th grade.
I don't know if that's
8th grade.
Well, you know, and I was homeschooled through up until 6th grade or up until 7th grade.
Okay.
I went to kindergarten, 1st to 6th grade. I was homeschooled.
I got you.
So you know that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
And I was doing 0 drugs when I was homeschooled.
Big reveal! Whoa, homeschool kid does not do drugs.
So I'm wondering if that's the change.
Huh.
I can picture my homeschool teacher perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
My mom.
Yeah.
I can't remember anybody else.
Angel.
I really can't. I can name 2 teachers right now. An 8th grade teacher and a senior year teacher. I cannot name anybody else.
Well,
so shout out to Mrs. Bumpus. With a name like that, it's meant to be remembered. And shout out to Miss Dyer.
Man, that's what's up. Shout outs, you know?
All right. So you went back. Now, time to go to the future. This is a real...
That's more uncomfortable for me.
Marty McFly moment.
Woo! All right,
you gotta make sure you don't kiss your mom. That's what happens
she'll be dead.
It's all confusing.
Maybe not, but in 40 years from now, she would be 115.
Sure.
Ish.
Well, you have to go to the future because you went to the past. Let's not get into the...
You know, the
flux.
Get into the... We need 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, there it is.
Essentially. All right, so I'm going 40 years in the future. Gosh, all right, let's go less. Let's go less, because that's 82.
Good Lord.
I'll be done.
I thought you were my age.
I'll be done at 82. So let's just go 20 years in the future.
Hey, you will not be done at 82. You still quit smoking?
I did, yeah.
How long has that been?
4 months, I think.
That's unbelievable.
4 months.
Now, if you could
quit
go
smoking
back,
too, though.
I did, but I didn't smoke as heavily and as long as you did.
What? I didn't smoke that heavily.
No, I don't know. I don't know how heavily you smoked. I definitely didn't smoke as long as you did.
I got you. Yeah.
But this is not what you're going to say, but let me just ask you, because you've already done the go back in the past.
Yeah.
Would you, if you had the opportunity, go back to when you first started smoking, whatever,
Oh,
16,
no.
18, 20, and literally just knock that pack of cigarettes out of your hand?
No way.
All right.
My first pack of cigarettes was in Greenwich Village in New York. My wife was pregnant.
Wow.
And
Really?
I was trying to
You
write.
were married.
It was so
when you
cold.
picked up
It was
smoking.
February. The streets were icy. It was the whole thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
That was a moment, man, and you pin dropped back there real quick. You
Bro.
enjoyed that cigarette.
Bro, I walked up to that thing and I knew, well, gosh, I better get an American Spirit because at least it's organic. And the Asian dude was like, what you want? And I was like, American Spirit? He's like, what color? And I was like, I don't know.
What'd you go with?
He was like, you want gold. So he gave me the like gold and orange pack. And I still don't even know what that flavor is. You know what I'm saying? But
well, it's not the menthol one. Which could have
no,
been worse for
that
you.
was.
Could have been worse for you.
I think that's the lime green or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I did smoke Newports for a little while, because in my in a past life I was a menthol guy.
Yeah?
But no, I wasn't. No, but I did smoke Newports for a little bit in New York, just trying them out.
Yeah.
Trying
You
those
didn't just
Newports
try them
out.
out. You didn't just take it for a spin.
Yeah, Newports. But needle drop back. No, I wouldn't change a thing, man. I mean, granted, I don't. God bless, I don't have lung cancer. I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was a thing. It was like a thing. My wife was pregnant with our first kid. I was so stressed. I was managing a cafe. I had a little bit of a midlife, quarter-life crisis.
Okay.
And I was like, I'd even wanted to smoke since 4th grade.
Okay.
I have just a lot of vivid memories of being like, oh man, I'm smoking cigarettes. I'm gonna do it, and so that's why I never smoked. But man, no.
But you got that life experience.
Yeah.
Which
wonderful.
is, I mean, and sometimes it's not always good. It's not good for your health, but you get a more complete life experience now.
That's totally true. It's totally true. And the people I've met.
There's nothing like socializing over a cigarette with strangers. It's very easy to do.
So good.
Yeah.
I'll even occasionally have a cigarette when people at work are at the smokers' little, there's a little gazebo.
Yeah.
I go out, I have a cigarette every once in a while.
Even now, in the last 4 months, you still allow yourself that?
Every once in a while. Because I know that if I do it too much, then I'll just jump back on the train.
Sure.
I don't want to thread the needle.
Yeah.
But it's different to walk up to a guy that you kind of know, and be like, hey, I want to chat. That's intense.
Yeah.
But to just be like, hey, I got 8 minutes to kill. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Even though
8 minutes, you are smoking American Spirits.
Yeah, they're great. They're 8 minutes.
Yeah. These things burn a while.
So let's say I'm hopping in the future. I'm going to 68 and or 62. Man, I come up with these questions. Doesn't mean I have the answers. 62, I'm hopping up there. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably saying, like, listen, remember when life was not like one giant advertisement? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like in 20 years from now, we will have ads, and they're so good at just sneaking them in, you don't even realize it. Don't even realize you're being advertised to all the time. Man, Shaft Wipes is for a buddy, so I got to rep them. You know what I'm saying? I got to rep Kevin's Shaft Wipes. But I remember when I was a kid, gosh, just commercials was it. Commercials on TV. But now, like, there's just commercials everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm in advertising, which means I get to see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Like, if, let's say that I had a product that was like perfect for 40-year-old women who had been divorced and had diabetes.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to market to them, and they needed to be making $115,000 to $160,000 a year.
You could find them.
I definitely
push that
could.
directly to them.
I could make sure that every time they pull up their iPad, their phone, They're seeing my product and they think, oh my gosh.
Oh, targeted ads.
How do they know I want that?
It is.
And I'm like, well, I know you're divorced.
That's the problem.
I know you're a 40-year-old woman. And I know that you make this much money. And I know that you live
I don't like that, Tim.
in this area. And it's really crazy. And I'm in advertising. So I know that like 20 years from now, it's probably going to be even more intense.
Sure.
Cool study. Okay, so,
Sure.
or cool, I don't know, correlation. So 1950s, window advertisements in the department stores becomes a thing. You know what I'm saying? Post World War II, people got some money in their pocket. All these businesses want that money.
Yeah.
They're like, let's create windows that are, you walk by and you're like, that's the dress. That's the necklace, you know, and it's a whole environment. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever walked into maybe a thrift store, and it's like, it's hard to find what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So vice versa is that department stores make it hard to see what you don't want. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say it's even the same stuff, but the way they organize it, Anthropology is a great example. You walk in there and you feel like you're in the commercial. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Anyway, so that hadn't happened yet in 1950s. They start doing window displays, and they'd like take off, right?
Yeah.
And there is a rash of shoplifting. Just shoplifting happening, right?
Yeah, okay.
Who do you think it was shoplifting?
But were they shoplifting?
No, who was shoplifting? Like, give me their age, their demographic.
Boy. All right, I'll go with the old folks. With the old folks.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll go with the old folks.
Yeah.
You know, you know, in Seinfeld, like they're the ones who just stick to library books up their shirt because an old man can do anything. That's right.
It was like 30-year-old housewives.
Really?
And they saw these things, they wanted them. Then you think about the 90s, right? And all the advertisements are all about the teenagers, right? Just focused on teens. Teens need this. You want the skateboard. You want these pants. American Eagle takes off.
Yeah.
21 Forever. I don't know. All these things take off, right? Who's the ones shoplifting in the 90s?
So I guess the youth.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, these teens. But you forget that in the 50s, it was the 30-year-old women. Whoever the apparatus is focused at, they think that they're making.
For me.
What's that?
This is for me.
For me, it's my decision. I want this. I'm going to get it. In reality, it's not too far from brainwashing.
Yeah.
The apparatus is just continually telling them, you need this, you want this, you need this, you want this. And then they're like, you know what, I need this, I want this. Who told me that? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I find that just as a lack of contentment in my own life when I think about just all the advertising. Anyways, sorry, I got spun up there, bro.
Yeah, no, but what you're saying is you're just breathing it in at a certain point.
You are.
And it's only getting worse.
So in 20 years from now, sorry, I didn't mean to go down
I'm tracking with you.
Personal.
Nobody learns more from these podcasts than me. Nobody. There is nobody on this. I have learned more than any listener. I challenge you to tell me.
I gotta slow down.
I mean, the number of people who are just like, okay, Joe, all right, let's just fast. Let's hit that 30-second button every time. Tim talked about Bach. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hit that 30-second button so I don't have to hear him explain who that is. Happens every single time.
Yeah, skip what Tim's saying. Hit that Joe button. Anyways, I'd like to go to the front and be like, hey, bro, you know what? Like, live it, love it, you know? I don't know.
I don't know if you're going to get your point across when you travel 20 years in the future. Bro. Just to say, hey, bro, live it, love it. I think you wasted your flux capacitor.
No, man, no. Imagine a 62-year-old self, and you're like, whoa, he traveled all this way just to say live it and love it. I'd be like going through books. I'd be like, what is living in? Is it code for something? Live it and love it.
Generic.
Okay.
And laugh. Live, laugh, love.
Live,
That's
laugh.
what I want to tell you. Came all this way.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
And then disappear. You know, that'd be, I think that would stir me up a little bit.
The disappearance would be powerful. It'd be the only profound thing that happens in that conversation.
Oh man, I don't know.
I love it, and I live it.
Do you laugh it?
I do.
Man.
I'm laughing right now. I'm crying.
See, my point has been proven, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to wrap up, the ability to laugh with a friend.
Yeah.
To cry with a friend.
Come on, there you go.
To discuss things about life.
Yeah.
And love, new babies, trips to Portugal. We're getting the full human experience here on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, if you tune in next week, you will get to witness firsthand the human experience unfold before your eyes.